On Election Day, you're deciding more than who you want to represent you for the state of Arkansas. Legislators and citizen groups propose changes to the Arkansas Constitution and state law. Your vote helps decide whether to accept or reject those measures. This video, along with the University of Arkansas System Division of Agriculture Public Policy Center's 2020 Voter Guide, provides information to help you make an informed decision in the November general election.
Issue 1 is a proposed constitutional amendment. It proposes making permanent a half-cent state sales tax that currently helps fund Arkansas's 4-lane highway system, county roads, and city streets. If approved by voters, this constitutional amendment would make permanent the half-cent state sales tax and use the revenue from this tax for maintaining, repairing, and improving highways, roads, and streets across the state. Arkansas's current statewide sales tax is 6.5%. This includes the half-cent sales tax for roads that voters approved in 2012. This existing tax is set to expire in June 2023. Revenue from the proposed state sales tax would be split between the state, counties, and cities. Estimated annual revenues are $205 million for the State Highway and Transportation Fund, $44 million for cities, and $44 million for counties.
Issue 2 is a proposed constitutional amendment from the legislature involving term limits for the Arkansas General Assembly. This proposal would make several changes to existing term limits. First, it would end lifetime limits on serving in the legislature. Right now, senators and representatives can serve 16 years in office if re-elected. Once they reach their limit, they can no longer run for re-election. Issue 2 would change that. It would allow legislators to run after a 4-year break in service after reaching the maximum number of years allowed. The maximum number of years allowed under this proposal would be 12 years in a row. Starting next year, people elected to the General Assembly could serve 12 years in a row before having to take a break. If they interrupt their service before reaching 12 years, their term limit clock would start over again if re-elected. For current legislators and those elected this November, they would fall under existing term limits. They could serve up to 16 years consecutively or not before the new rules would apply to them. Issue 3 is a proposed constitutional amendment from the legislature that would make changes to the ballot issue process used by citizens and the legislature, as well as make changes to publication requirements for the legislative ballot issues. For the ballot issue process used by citizens, Issue 3 would make several changes. First, the proposal would change when voter signatures and petitions are due to the Secretary of State. Instead of 4 months ahead of the election, petitions would be due January 15th of the election year. Second, this proposal would increase the number of counties from where ballot issue groups must collect voter signatures, from 15 counties to 45 counties. Issue 3 would also establish a deadline for when ballot issues from the public could be challenged in court. Right now, there is no deadline. This proposal would set April 15th of the election year as the deadline to file a challenge in court. This proposal would eliminate at the state, county, and city level extra time ballot issue groups have to collect additional signatures after submitting petitions. This time is known as a cure period and is used to gather more voter signatures in case there are flaws with the ones they've already submitted. This is the only part of Issue 3 that would apply to local ballot issues as well as statewide ballot issues. By eliminating the cure period section from the Constitution, Issue 3 would also delete a subsection requiring that a person challenging the validity of a ballot issue petition in court has the burden to prove the petition is invalid. The impact of this change is not clear. For legislative ballot issues, this proposed amendment would increase the number of votes in the House and Senate needed to refer a constitutional amendment to voters from a simple majority to 3/5 of each chamber. The proposal would require a total of 12 additional votes, 3 from the Senate and 9 from the House. Finally, Issue 3 would terminate a requirement that ballot issue titles for legislative amendments be published in a newspaper in every county for 6 months ahead of the election. Instead, they would be required to publish the ballot titles in a manner provided by law.
In this video, we discuss the highlights of this year's ballot issues. For a more detailed explanation of each issue, along with what supporters and opponents are saying, check out the University of Arkansas System Division of Agriculture Public Policy Center's 2020 Voter Guide. The voter guide and other information about the November election can be found on our website at uaex.edu/ballot.